Hey, DHG here doing my final installment of The Darkness 2, playing through this on PC. This is the How Bad Is It? Darkness 2. I got to the final part of the game a lot quicker than expected. When I was looking up to see how many chapters there were in this game, I read that it was short, but I didn't really think they meant this short. Maybe 6 hours, 6.5 hours total, seems like. Not a whole lot of content here. Maybe perhaps they tried to revamp some of that time online. I'm not going to be getting into that, no one's going to be playing this. So here we go, the final video.
Hold on, baby. I'm coming.
You defy me!
Jackie, you found your way here.
What
Jenny?
is she wearing?
Is that really you?
She looks like a mummy. Hey, a relic. Well, I said I was going to do this in the next video, so we might as well do it now. Let's check these relics out.
Think back to your high school history class. Wait, did you even go to high school? You know what, forget it. I don't want to argue, nor do I want you to punch me in the face. So I'll just catch you up to speed on some stuff I'm sure you already know. The lost colony of Roanoke was a British colony off the coast of what we now call North Carolina. As the name implies, it disappeared. Okay, the colony, not the island. 115 people just whoosh, gone. Okay, goodbye. To this day, no one knows what happened to them. Well, no one except for me and every other supernatural junkie on the planet. See, the darkness was first carried to North America by one of the colonists. And where the darkness goes, its enemies follow. One of those enemies, the Angelus, came to a nearby tribe of Croatoan natives. Influenced by the Angelus, a Croatoan maid slipped into the colony under cloak of night and massacred the colonists in their sleep. This is the weapon she used, Roanoke's Bane. But the Angelus had been mistaken. The darkness was not in Roanoke, as it was being carried by the colony's leader, John White. John was back in England, procuring more supplies. When he returned to find Roanoke deserted, the darkness knew the Angelus had been there. Unfortunately for the Croatoans, the Angelus had already moved on. They were defenseless when the darkness fell upon them, much like the colonists had been. Fair's fair, I suppose.
Let's just go in order. For the ones I found.
You know, Jackie, you bring me the nicest things. Your methods could be a little less mass murdery, but who am I to argue? Anyway, you wanted to know about this piece. It looks like a panel from the Metatron Steely, I don't know. We're gonna say steel, okay? Which would be amazing if it weren't impossible. See, the Metatron steel was carried down from heaven by Enoch, way back at the start of time. This wasn't easy. The steel was a stone slab, carved directly from the seed of creation. On it was inscribed every revelation Enoch witnessed in heaven. The amount of knowledge contained on just an inch of this thing would shatter our every notion of creation. So, of course, someone fucking lost it. Lucky for us, someone else was smart enough to copy it. Well, parts of it. This is one of those parts. It's called the Sister of Light, and it's pretty important, at least concerning you. Think back to Genesis. There were only two things in the beginning, light and dark. The Bible says God separated the two, turning light into day and darkness into night. But in actuality, the darkness just stayed the darkness, and the light became the Angelus, or, as it was once known, the Sister of Light. What is the Angelus? Well, not to bum you out, but according to legend, it's your other half, Jackie, and all it wants is to rip you open and burn away the darkness. Yeesh. There's just not an easy way to lay that on somebody.
For a second there, I thought they were going to go with the old, what's the name of that? Oh, I can't think of it at the moment. It's the old esoteric religion that involves the demiurge and all that, Sophia.
Whoa, hold up. Whoa. Whatever you do, for the love of God, don't ever let that blade touch your skin. I mean, what do you think you're doing bringing that here? Well, okay, yes, this is your house, so I guess you can do whatever the fuck you want. But remember, I'm here to help you figure if what you want to do is actually something you don't want to do. Trust me when I say, using that knife falls into the latter category. That's a furba, which on its own is dangerous enough to a guy like you. A furba's blade will pin a demon to the spot. Once that's done, only the person who shanked the demon can free it. Now, it is possible that a normal furba wouldn't be strong enough to bind you. But this is the Trinity. Its blade was forged from the 3 nails that crucified Christ. Not normal! Extremely not normal! If you'd cut yourself with the Trinity, you would have been paralyzed. The only person who could have set you free would have been you, which you wouldn't be able to do because you would be paralyzed. Do you see the paradox here? Come to think of it, you ever decide to touch this stuff, just ask first. All right, nothing big, just a simple, "Hey, Johnny, is it okay if I touch this?" And I'll say, "Sure, Jackie." That absolutely will not trap you in a never-ending loop of torment. Or I'll say the other thing. No.
It's funny how Jackie just finds all this shit lying around in New York.
Okay, so you know the story of the Ten Commandments, right? Of course you do, okay? Moses went up a mountain to receive God's law. When he came back down, Moses found his people worshiping a new god, the golden cow. But they didn't call it the golden cow, it had a name. But legend says God struck it from man's tongue, never to be uttered again. Nowadays, we just call it the graven image. Well, Moses was pissed, obviously, so he disbanded this little cow cult. Some of his people, being of a progressive mindset, were like, "Hey, what about freedom of religion, man?" To which I assume Moses responded, "You're kidding, right?" But they weren't. So, led by their high priestess, these, we'll call them Calvinists, left Moses and went into the desert to worship their graven image. It was there, according to legend, that the Calvinists met a dark man. You can probably guess where this is going. The dark man claimed to speak for the graven image. He said it demanded sacrifice, human sacrifice. These weren't the smartest people. So, it wasn't long before they were cutting out each other's hearts. When they got around to sacrificing the high priestess, she was understandably not too keen on the idea. So, to save her holy ass, she repented to the God of Moses. Surprisingly, this worked. The Angelus descended upon the altar, possessing the body of the high priestess. The dark man escaped. The people didn't. You know, the darkness didn't come from the cradle of civilization. The darkness came from nowhere. Which, if you follow the Rothfusian or Rothfussian, I say Rothfussian, okay? Theory, it means the darkness also comes from everywhere. Numerous cultures throughout history make reference to the darkness, even though most of them had never encountered it. For example, take a look at this Aztec totem. An anthropologist would identify it as the key of Mictlan. Mictlan, of course, being the Aztec underworld. This is wrong on an absurd number of levels. Mictlan was a battleground that fed on the souls of the dead. Man, woman, child, didn't matter. They went on to their death prepared to fight, knowing that Mictlan awaited them. Sound familiar to you? It should. It's the darkness. This is just one example out of thousands. Every person since the dawn of time has known instinctually the darkness was waiting. It's why so many of us have a natural fear of the dark. To me, that says something, and I don't think you're gonna like it. Part of me believes the darkness is inside all of us. Just a small bit of essence. It's a part of us. Maybe the darkness came from us. Maybe it's an extension of who we are. I don't know. But I do know that if any of those crazy ideas are even partly true, then the darkness isn't going anywhere, no matter what we do. I wonder what's on TV tonight. This is, well, it's a thumb screw. I don't really know what else to tell you. I mean, this thing is definitely giving off dark energy. But again, we're talking about a device that was used to torture people by slowly crushing their fingers. I'd be scared if it wasn't giving off nasty vibes. What? You want more? Sure.
You could stick something else in it.
Okay, I got something. From what I can divine, this thing goes back like 400 years. It was used on a host who was imprisoned by the Brotherhood. Chances are that dark energy I'm picking up is a taint left by the darkness. Meaning this isn't just any thumbscrew, it's an evil thumbscrew, so it hurts more. Maybe. Oh, that's still not enough. Okay, fine. This is the infamous Black Thumb. In 1631, it single-handedly ripped and raped its way across the English countryside, leaving behind a trail of bloody bastards and broken dreams. Never has the world seen such carnage. Pray it never will again. Yes, I am being sarcastic. No, I don't want you to kill me. Okay, I'll shut up now.
They threw a bit of humor in there.
What you're holding is the very first artistic interpretation of the darkness. Or as it was known then, he who comes with the night. Not the catchiest of names, but pretty good when you consider that most people are still living in caves. Anyway, at this point in history, Cain, Adam's son, as in the Garden of Eden, first guy to ever walk the earth, Adam, had dealt with most of the demons and assorted nasties that still roam the world. But no one had faced the darkness yet. See, God protected Cain from the darkness by making him unkillable. It was a great plan. If you happen to be Cain, everyone else, not so much. Murder didn't stop just because Cain ran out of brothers to bludgeon, so the darkness still had plenty of souls to latch onto. Some legends suggest the darkness was first carried by a son of Lilith. Others say it was a Nephilim, but I don't buy that one. We'd all be dead if that was the case. Not that it matters. Okay, whoever was, through him, the darkness raped, ravaged, and generally fucked things up. Only the Angelus had the power to face the darkness. All Cain could do was warn people. So he sculpted 12 of these statues, entrusting them to 12 holy men. They carried these statues across the land, spreading word of he who comes with the night. But the darkness did not want to be known. Within a year, it had devoured all 12 of them. The statues were gone, shattered, or lost to time. Well, until now, apparently. You know, this isn't the first time the Brotherhood has tried to take the darkness. Yeah, things look bleak right now, but believe it or not, they've done worse. A lot worse. It was a long time ago. So far back, no one knew the Brotherhood even existed. They'd been around, but necessity required they keep a low profile. See, they were watching the darkness, studying it, learning what made it tick. They already knew enough not to fuck with the darkness. So if they were going to move against it, they needed to be totally confident in their knowledge. I have to give them credit. The Brotherhood knew what they were doing. They accurately predicted who the next host would be. Swapping children at birth, they raised the host as one of their own. Then, when he came of age, they chained him to a table and tortured him to death.
Nice.
This is the blinding sun. One of these was inserted into each of his eye sockets, gouging out each eye in the process. Each device was then slowly expanded until it shattered his forehead and cheekbones. This was the first of 12 tortures. The darkness didn't manifest itself until the 4th. That means it took 2 more of these unspeakable acts before the Brotherhood could be certain they had the right guy. That doubt didn't even slow them down. These are bad people, Jackie, and they have it in them to be a whole lot worse.
As bad as that sounds, I bet there's some historical accuracy for that device right there. I've never seen it, but you could probably look it up and find something that was used like that in medieval times.
Jackie, let me introduce you to Enoch, great-great-great-great-grandson of Adam, great-grandfather to Noah, and the only guy who knows how many angels can dance on the head of a pin. I'm sure he'd say hi, but as you can see, he's dead. Enoch's a special guy. If not for him, we'd only know a teeny-tiny little smidgen of what we do about heaven, hell, and all those weebly-wobbly bits in between. How do you learn all this stuff? Well, if you read the Bible, it says that Enoch walked with God. What does that mean? Fuck if I know. I don't know. The Bible doesn't say. It just says, poof, no more Enoch. Next verse. This is why I don't read the Bible. I do, however, read the secret histories. And it's there that we learn Enoch actually ascended to heaven, where he apparently took some night classes, because the next time we see him, he's back on Earth, busy being the world's foremost expert on all things occult and supernatural. Do you know how many other people have been invited to heaven just for a visit? 0! Seriously, they loved him up there. So much, in fact, that upon his death, a heavenly host descended from the clouds simply to inscribe his skull with the language of angels. That's the markings you see. No one has ever been able to decipher them. But when the skull is placed in absolute darkness, the markings emit a faint singing noise, which is kind of a cool thing.
Been hearing more and more about the Book of Enoch. I'd never really looked at it, though.
I hope you're not in a good mood, because if you are, I promise this is gonna shit all over it. This is the Lantern of St. Anthony, possibly the most misidentified item ever created. I don't mean people look at this lamp and say, that is a very luminescent club sandwich. What I mean is, most people see this lantern as a symbol of hope, but really, it's a symbol of soul-crushing despair. Now, the outer casing is only 80 years old, but the light inside the lantern goes back, about 1,000 years. In her war against the darkness, the Angelus sought an ever-burning light. She gathered the souls of 100 children butchered by the darkness, and bound them within a glass sphere. This combined lightness of being produced a blindingly powerful light, but only when the dead children felt like it. Turns out kids are fickle little bitches. The Angelus abandoned the sphere, totally apathetic towards the children still trapped inside. The sphere remained lost for quite some time until it was discovered by St. Anthony, the patron saint of lost things. Go figure! Anthony fastened it onto a lantern, believing it to be a gift from God. He was convinced the light would guide a traveler home, but usually it just led them over a cliff or into a bog. So yeah, St. Anthony used this lantern to unknowingly kill hundreds of innocent travelers, all because the Angelus thought the imprisoned souls of murdered children would make a cool weapon. Yay! Now this is the good stuff. The Abysmal Maw. Dark magic at its sexiest. Jeez, I'm getting hot just looking at it. The Abysmal Maw, or the Mawsome, as I like to call it, was carved directly from the gates of hell. Grip it in your right hand and say the magic words, and the maw will unleash a blast of pure hellfire. Do you know what hellfire does? It destroys everything! And everything it destroys goes straight to hell. You could have killed Mother Teresa with this, and she even would have burned for eternity. The thing is, every time you use the maw, it burns away part of your soul as well. Most people only get 3 or 4 blasts before they wake up in hell. Theoretically, a darkness host could probably use it ad nauseum, since your soul is already kinda in hell. Unfortunately, the maw no longer works because someone misplaced the magic words. Records show the Brotherhood were the last users of the maw, sometime around World War II. That means it's their fault that the world is far less awesome than it used to be. It almost makes me want to cry! Maybe next time before you tear 5 or 10 of them apart, you could, I don't know, ask if they remember the words?
Nope.
The crescent of the sun, considered by many to be the greatest mystery and biggest letdown of the past millennium. You know, if you don't count Rocky V.
Rocky
The crescent
V
was
was
wielded
so
by the
bad.
Angelus approximately 800 years ago for half an hour. She claimed it was forged from a single drop of the sun's flame, that it would bring about the final end of the darkness. What she forgot to mention, however, is how the crescent would do this, which is important because she never got a chance to use it. Carrying it into battle against the darkness, she was immediately disemboweled. A bit anticlimactic for sure, but it only gets worse. A few years later, the crescent was rediscovered by a holy warrior. Once again, the blade was wielded against the darkness. This time, it even managed to get a few good swings. But you know what? The blade passed through the darkness, like a knife through water. Later, after monks recovered the crescent from the warrior's corpse, it was tested against multiple targets. Turns out the blade passes through all matter. People, stone, trees, kittens, just whoosh, goes right through. No harm, no foul. Could be only the Angelus can wield the crescent, but if so, why has she never tried to reclaim it? Personally, I think the Angelus talked a big game, but was just as surprised as everyone else when the crescent turned out to be worthless. Which begs the question, where did the crescent come from? I got no idea, but I hope she kept the receipt. Okay, Jackie, time for a quick history lesson. Buddhism was founded by Siddhartha Gautama. I don't even know if that's the right pronunciation, just go with it. Siddhartha led an extraordinary life, but for our purposes, his death is what's important. History says Siddhartha announced his imminent death at the age of 80. Immediately after making this announcement, he ate his last meal. It was an offering made by a blacksmith. Siddhartha then became ill and died. Obviously, there was more to it, but I'm not here to teach Religion 101. Those are the main points. Before dying, Siddhartha made sure his followers knew that the blacksmith had nothing to do with his death, because, from all accounts, Siddhartha was a pretty stand-up guy. Unfortunately, he was way off on this one. The blacksmith totally poisoned him. And that's not all. He also gave Siddhartha water from his pitcher. This pitcher. As you can guess, this is no normal pitcher. This pitcher works like a soul pump. Drinking out of it creates a mystical vacuum inside the jar. Stop drinking, and your soul is whooshed into the clay, where it remains until the magic is broken. The magic on this relic is unbelievably strong. It's held for over 2,000 years. And that's why this relic has earned the name Siddhartha's Tears, because Siddhartha is still trapped inside. Who'd do such a thing to such a nice guy like Siddhartha? I think you already know. The darkness is the enemy of peace and unity. Its wrath is not always violent, but it is cold and unyielding. Just like Siddhartha's tears. Or the Red Sox.
I was never into baseball.
Oh, you'll appreciate this, being a former altar boy and all, I assume. And this is the head of Pope John the 12th. Well, the shrunken head. At least, I hope it's been shrunk. If not, then I imagine he had trouble wearing his Pope hat. Anyways, turns out Lil John here was the only Darkness host to ever become Pope, which would explain why he's considered one of the worst popes of all time, though, ironically, not one of the worst hosts. You'd think the Darkness would have used the papacy to run rampant, but honestly, John the 12th spent most of his time disemboweling his deacons and boning up on the ladies. Actually, never mind. Now that I think about it, he did summon a few not-so-minor lust demons into the Vatican, then turned it into a brothel. And by brothel, I mean charnel house, a.k.a. place where dead bodies are dug up and stored after their graves are more or less desecrated. So, yeah, Pope John XII was a huge dick, in more ways than one. Small side note, I have it on good authority that 3 of those demons are still around doing their thing. So, do yourself a favor and never take a naked tour of the Sistine Chapel. Not that they offer one, still, just don't.
Strange.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you about this particular relic, but you gotta promise me something. No matter what I tell you, you can't let this get weird, okay? Okay? Okay. This is the reliquary of the Blessed Blood. It is said to contain a relic of untold worth, an object of unfathomable holiness, a preserved piece of flesh from the Messiah himself. Yes, that's right. We're talking about the foreskin of Jesus Christ. Except, here's the thing. There is someone's foreskin inside this reliquary. It just didn't belong to the holy member. It actually belonged to a guy named Miles from South Hamiltonshire. Don't ask how I know this. I just do. I'm an occultist, all right? Just forget about the foreskin. The foreskin is a distraction. There's nothing important about the foreskin, and we should both just forget it ever happened. Moving on.
Then why bring it
The
up?
container is what is so important here, okay? See, the darkness isn't the only power the Brotherhood wants to harness. They're just as interested in the Angelus. This reliquary was their first attempt to create a vessel that could hold the Angelus. It was a total failure. All it did was piss off the Angelus, and when she's pissed, she does like to burn things. Still, there's dark magic in here. Magic best hidden from certain people. And turning it into a impossibly ridiculous foreskin holder was a good way to do that. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go scrub my memory with bleach and steel wool.
I wish I'd discovered more of these.
Wow, okay, shit, where do I start? What you got here is the first. As you can guess by its name, this thing goes way back. Like, way back, to the beginning. You're a good Catholic boy, so I know you remember the story of Cain and Abel, how Abel was like, oh, God loves me, and Cain was like, jealousy, wham, and killed him with this. That's right, you're the new proud owner of murder stick number 1, so congrats, I guess. Now, the story goes that God was so pissed that he marked Cain, set him walking the earth forever, unable to die, but that's only half true. See, Cain brought murder into our world, back in when it was, still new and teeming with free-range evil. This made him a target for certain dark influences, if you catch my emphasis. Even if Cain was a brother-murdering jackass, God wasn't going to let the darkness run a train on him, so he made Cain unkillable. As you know, the darkness deals in death. If Cain couldn't die, the darkness couldn't take him. Not a bad move on God's part. But God doesn't just hand out free prizes, especially for murdering your brother. So he set Cain to a task, cleaning up all that leftover darkness from before creation. Unfortunately for Cain, unkillable did not mean immortal, but that's a different story altogether.
I'd like to hear that one.
Holy shit, Jackie, this is big. This is really big. You know how the siphon of the Angelus was designed to hold the darkness? Well, this is the prism of the brothers, and it's meant to hold the Angelus. After the darkness escaped the siphon, the Brotherhood vanished for a long time. So long, in fact, it was believed that they disbanded. But no, the siphon of the Angelus had been lost to them. Without it, they couldn't make good on their plan to shroud the world in darkness. Instead, they decided to burn the world with light, so they built this. When the darkness in Angelus reemerged during World War II, the Brotherhood was waiting for them. Don't ask me how, because I sure as hell got no idea, but the Brotherhood defeated the Angelus, trapping her inside the prison. Okay? Where, according to legend, she remains today. But here's the thing, Jackie. I'm looking at this prism right now, and I'm not picking up a thing. No holy essence, no dark magic, nothing. The Angelus is not inside the prism. In fact, it never even touched it. If I can be honest, this scares the living fuck out of me. The Angelus has not been seen on our world in 70 years. We thought it was because she was trapped in this, but she's not, Jackie. She's still out there. Where the fuck is she?
And what were all these doing in New
Think back
York?
to your high school.
Okay, I wish I had more of the relics to go through, but that's all I got. I did make it a point to try to look for some of them, but
Are of no consequence!
We'll see about that.
wait, what did that gun say? A kazee?
Jackie, make it stop.
Kazif?
Hold on, baby.
Okay, whatever.
Must not! Except you are nothing!
I find it hard to believe that demonic weapons have a reload. They kind of look like the alien blasters from Black Ops or Fallout.
The chill consumes you! She will never leave here.
Where did the impaled body go? Holy shit, he ended up all the way over
Soul
here.
is lost!
These names are something else entirely. this gun sounds terrible. It kind of sounds like you're in a vacuum. It's just a reskinned UMP-45, but... yeah, it sounds like when you play Dead Space and you shoot when you're outside in a space vacuum. Very muffled.
You cannot free her!
Hey,
It will not be set free. No! You cannot!
Watch me.
It lies. You will not have my power!
Ready to.
Mash it. Okay, these are some creative names. Not really. Oh, look, it looks like a Black Ops 3 weapon. Pew, pew, pew. Pack a punch.
Accept your fate!
Any hearts? I'm kind of hungry.
You know not what you do!
This one's a reskin best for evil.
You are its puppet!
He must be
keep
referring to the
going! You're
Angelus.
gonna do it!
Do not obey.
shield's strong.
Doom yourself!
She's worth it.
Let me take a guess. Jenny is the Angelus.
Jackie, you did it.
I didn't mean for this to happen. Any of this.
Shh. We don't have much time.
Waiting for something to happen. What the hell? Was that the ending? Okay, it's not. I was gonna say, if that was the ending, Jesus Christ, that was worse than Clive Barker's Jericho.
I love you, Jackie Estacado. No matter what happens, I always will. I'm so sorry.
Sorry. Jenny, I'm the one who showed this. Jenny?
Yeah, I thought so. She was the Angelus. That's a huge bitch.
We are the Angelus. The world has gone too long without my light. Oh, yes. It's been so long.
Where's Jenny?
Don't worry. She's still in here. And after all you put her through, she still loves you. But she knows what must be done.
Give her back to me.
Don't you understand, Jackie? Jenny's soul wasn't the only thing trapped here. It was you who gave her to me.
I won't fight you.
What makes you think I'm even going to give you the chance? You have become too powerful a host. Caused too much suffering. You and it are now where you belong.
No.
Okay, I kept reading about a cliffhanger ending to this game. That seems pretty conclusive to me. He gets trapped in hell. I mean, I don't really see what the cliffhanger there is. Maybe there's different endings to this game, I don't know, but that one was a pretty definitive ending point. Either way, that's the end of my Darkness. How bad is it? I'll be doing my review on it next. Don't forget to like and subscribe, especially on Rumble.